Welcome everyone for joining our meetup. Today we're going to speak about AI-assisted development and AWS Cognitive Services connectors and how to use them in Mendix. So without further ado, I will start on the AI-assisted development. Once again, welcome everyone. Today I'll tell you what AI-assisted development is, and specifically the examples will be given from Mendix. I'll speak about MxAssist, and this comprises our four AI-assisted tools, which is Logic Bot, Best Practice Bot, Validation Assist, and Mendix Chat. And there is another slide which is not put on the agenda. The future of MxAssist. I got in touch with the PM of AI related developments for Mendix and gave me some insights what is coming up next and when. So I'm sure you would like to know that as well. So what is AI-assisted development? Anyone wants to guess? Maybe wants to tell me what that is? Don't worry, I've got it covered. I've asked ChatGPT what it is, so you can read from the slide. You know, this is my favorite way of nailing the unknowns, or maybe just defining some terms. So basically, AI-assisted development is here to support you with development, as it's probably self-explanatory. It might give you cues on the best practices. It might do some code reviews, automated code reviews. Also, it can give you suggestions what you can do next. This is all for better quality and better performance. And this is here to basically support you in the role of development. This is used mainly during the development phase. So how can AI-assisted development support application development? Again, efficiency enhancement. So for example, you want to create something which is time consuming. This might help you achieve that. You got improved accuracy. You can work on performance optimizations. In some cases, I'll give you examples later on related to Mendix. It definitely boosts productivity. With some of the automations that are ready for you in your tools, this may replace some of your mundane or regular tasks that you would undergo normally manually. But this, sometimes with a single click, it allows you to create really complex stuff. Real-time analysis and insights. So basically, some of the tools which are there allow you to, in real time, see if you've committed any errors committed in terms of developed some erroneous situation, and give you insights why is it wrong and how to fix that. So AI-assisted development in Mendix. How it all started? So it started in 2018 in June with a press release, and I remember there was also a video that they are introducing Logic Bot, which will allow you to basically create microflow logic faster. It will reduce the cost of development by using suggestions that have been prepared based on analyzing applications. I remember that they've mentioned there were I think 12,000 of applications analyzed before they released that, and I think 40 million logic cases that are used to train the model to basically give you recommendations on what is the next step possible to achieve. So the next steps are around 95% accuracy. So if you're creating a microflow, the next step that you would want to create will be accurate in 95%. So suggestions from the Logic Bot will be 95% accurate, and you can try it yourself. Obviously, this system can be fooled, but this is based on the usual cases, or most common cases rather. And another aspect is the shortage of skilled developers. So if you're missing advanced developers or intermediate developers and want to also support junior developers. This tool, so AI assist development in a form, for example, of a logic bot that is available in Mendix, will allow you to boost productivity of those junior developers, and it will support digital transformation also by improving efficiency and making sure that developers make less errors while they create your application logic. So more on the times, or on the dates rather. So in 2018, MxAssist was released as was introduced first with Mendix 8, and it was called LogicBot. Then in March 2021, they introduced MxAssist Performance Bot. I will tell you more what that is later on in the presentation. Then in September, they've introduced Validation Assistant, or Validation Assist, which also allows you to speed up development by providing some fancy automations. Then in June 23, the performance bot was renamed to best practice bot, because it not only does it care about performance of your application, but also it allows you to perform audits of your application against the best practice that are documented by Mendix. And finally, in December 23, when the hype for Gen AI started, they've introduced Mendix Chat. So basically a LLM chat that is embedded in your development ID, so Mendix Studio Pro in that case. So this is how it evolved. And let's start with the logic bot. So the first AI assistant that was introduced by Mendix. What it does, it supports you in creating logic within microflows and nanoflows. It starts with a dot. So when you hover over a flow in a microflow, there is a dot. When you press on it, it suggests next actions based on the context you're in. So it analyzes your project, and it allows you to create a next action based on what they've managed to analyze. And why is a developer's best friend? Well, if you don't know what to do, just click on a dot and it will tell you what to do. But jokes aside, this really can speed up your development. Maybe you forgot to commit an object that you've changed previously. Maybe there is some suboptimal structure that you've created in the microflow, and with that you can omit those kind of errors. 5 points why to use LogicBot. So as I mentioned, it might guide you in creation of microflows, and recently added functionality to also enhance nanoflows. It's context aware, so it analyzes your project. It analyzed already thousands of projects in the past, and by analyzing yours, it can give you almost instant cues what can be done within the context of your application. It might allow you to, or it allows you to limit a lot of error situations while you develop applications. It's time saver because it allows you to create microflows, not, for example, taking objects from the toolbox, but with right click, you just select what you need to do. It will pre-populate the components with specific parameters, the components meaning the action, the blocks within a microflow or nanoflow, and it will immediately populate with the parameters that are available within the context. And user-friendly interface, you see a picture on the slide. Basically, that's a list of actions that can be created or are being suggested when you want to create a next step within the microflow. Let's move then to another assistant. So it's Best Practice Bot. I think this is one of my favorites. So what it does, it basically, again, analyzes your code and performs suggestions, or gives you suggestions what needs to be changed in your project in order to be compliant with best practices, or what is non-compliant, and in several cases even gives you a specific resolution of how to avoid this error. So this is my favorite, and this is because in the past I was performing application audits manually. So I would go through each of the microflows manually, sometimes also do the code reviews through each of the steps to make sure that code is written in an optimal way and making sure that it follows the best practice. With this best practice spot, I can spot immediately most of the best practice rules that Mendix set as a list to be corrected, basically, if there are any errors. And this is really my best friend in terms of tools that are available within Mendix Studio Pro. And one of nice features that it has is the ability to automatically fix the issues that it spots. So, for example, if it tells you that this is an error, or this is not following best practice, this can be done by, for example, replacing a microflow with a nanoflow. You have an option to simply replace a microflow with a single click to a nanoflow, and this way you might be able to optimize some of the code in your application. Obviously, as every tool, this is a suggestion. So not all rules, or basically, if you perform an application review and you get those cues, in some cases, you might want to just omit that and acknowledge that there is there because this is your intended way of implementing and you don't want to change that. But in most of the cases, this will give you the proper cues and proper guidance on what to do. Why would you use that best practice bot in your development? Well, as I mentioned, you follow the best practice that Mendix encourages you to do. Obviously, you can just ignore those cues and anyway run the applications as you wish. It does not force you to change that. But if you follow best practice, you limit, for example, the time needed for a new developer to come in or to take over your application, and that handover process is shorter. Another case, if you're not using automated code review tools with your development, this might be something that you can use or to making sure that your code is better. Right? If you don't use external tools, you can still use the best practice bot to at least do a first run through the application. It will not review your functional requirements, right? So if there is a specific logic of your application that follows some business processes, this will not give you the answer that this is wrong, right? It cannot map the requirements to the logic that you've implemented, but it will tell you whether the calculations that you have designed are done in a proper way. For example, by leveraging the retrieves of database and performing some operations on the list of retrieved objects. Validation assist. Now this is a quite an interesting concept. It basically allows you to create validations for example, saving an entity, saving changes on specific actions, most commonly triggered from pages. So if you create an entity or you modify an entity, you then want to save it and you want to introduce some validation, the bot, the validation assist, will help you do that. So it will open a context window for you. It will suggest, based on his analysis of the entities, the basic validations that are most commonly used with a specific or with certain fields of your entity, with specific types of the fields that you have in entity. And once you accept, it will produce the structured microflow. It can even produce sub-microflows with certain aspects of the validations, so you don't need to do this manually. Otherwise, you most likely be creating a sub-microflow, have an input parameter as the entity that you are modifying or creating, and running all the checks, whether perhaps a string is empty or a date is within a specific range, etc. With this assistant, you're able to do this automatically. Does it have any resemblance to other automations that are available in Mendix Studio Pro? To me, it really resembles creating pages, creating OData, creating or publishing to a REST service. This is kind of automation and assistance that are available in Mendix Studio Pro as well. But with Validation Assist, this has more analysis, right? Because this analyzed what are the most common validations that are performed on specific fields. And with page generations, you just take an entity and you can automatically, without analyzing history, create a page. So here I've just listed a couple of points why to use Validation Assist. It basically makes it easier for you to design logic of your application by removing the necessity of creating those, let's say, necessary but still mundane flows that basically take a variable, verify if it's valid, create an output message. Mendix Chat. This was also introduced to Mendix Studio Pro. This is like any other chat. It's got ability to ask or answer your questions when you ask it. It even answers your question in Polish. So I've been able to ask it in Polish, and I forced Mendix Chat to reply in Polish, although his responses are basically just Google translated responses. So you might be careful when doing that. But the English version really works fine. It's, as I mentioned, it's a chat-like interaction with Mendix knowledge base. So it's got Mendix Academy courses, it's got some forums, it's got Mendix documentation as a base for their responses. And when you ask question to chat, it will give you an answer, and also it will give you reference links to the documents that he thinks, or maybe he thinks the algorithm believe are the proper in certain context. And like with any other chat or LLM model, you need to be careful what it produces. And sometimes when it gives you the reference links, make sure you also open those and make sure that this is within the context that you actually asked. I think for a junior developer or for a person that's just started their journey, it's a good tool. So why to use the Mendix Chat? You can ask the question in a natural language, and you will get most likely the right response. It's got indexed knowledge base, Mendix knowledge base, Academy, forums, as I already mentioned. You can use localized prompts, so you can try to ask a question in Polish. If you don't force it to answer in Polish, it will answer in English, and this will be more accurate than if you force it to respond in Polish. So I would really suggest you just ask questions or expect it to answer in English. And it can give you recommendations, just like with other assistants. It also can cue you with best practice tips. It makes sure that you follow the proper development patterns and more features that I really think you should be trying out if you are a fan of chats, let's say interacting with LLM and AI. And this is why I've reached out to PMs of Mendix and asked those questions for you, so you can have answers immediately without needing to wait. Now, Mendix Chat, it's based on open source Mistral 7B at the moment. And Mendix is following new developments. And if they find that there is a better LLM to be used with their Mendix Chat, they will replace that. Sebastian, you asked last time about being able to create objects from prompts. Now this is coming not next month. This is coming this month. This will be available for use in version 10.12. That's being released by the end of June, not 21/24. That's a spelling error. June this year. And on top of that, they have on the roadmap the ability to connect your own knowledge base on your own documentation, and your responses will be based also on the documents that you attach to it. This is planned for the end of 2024. Now, creating the objects, or basically a co-pilot that will enable you to create Gen AI feature. Basically, adding a Gen AI feature. This is also planned to be available in 10.12. I don't know more details. This is what I've been able to get from Mendix, but I'm sure it's not that far away. I think it's only 3 weeks to go. So I think it's going to be an interesting release for you to try. Other ideas that are that MxAssist might do or have is for example, user story generation from the requirements. Now I know there are some developments happening at the moment, and I'm sure, or maybe not sure, but I think this will be also beneficial for the community to see. There are projects that are actually doing that in Mendix, but let's keep it as a surprise, maybe for future meetups. Domain model generation and all the parts with generation. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm sure this will be also a part of Copilot in the future. And other ideas that you have depicted on the slide. If you find them interesting, I suggest you just keep on using our latest releases and just have fun, go wild with what they deliver. And there is also a feedback that you can give to Mendix chat, for example. And if you do, I'm sure Mendix will have a look at that and implement the changes in the future releases. So this is just a list of ideas that I think will be also useful to the developers. Any other questions you have, guys? Right, then thank you very much for your attention. And let's have a 5-minute break. Let's change the setup, and Piotr will entertain you after the break. So let's take 5. Let's meet 6:05. Right, thank you.